Hello and welcome to the Science Fiction and Fantasy Marketing Podcast, the show where we help you establish your author brand, increase the size of your audience, and sell more books. I'm Lindsay Baroker, and I'm here with Jeffrey Poole and Joe Lalo. And this week we've got a guest for you who's been a USA Today bestseller, and we're going to ask him about that, along with some other things. Michael James Ploof. He is the author of the fantasy series Legends of Agora, or Agora. I'll have to ask how to pronounce it. Agora, the traditional Greek pronunciation.
Yeah.
The Orion Resner Chronicle, and also the Orion Resner Chronicles. He enjoys writing, working out, road trips, cooking, gardening, daydreaming, hanging out with the family, and beating the odds. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thanks.
Would you like to start out? Tell us how you got started writing and what led you to self-publishing?
Well, I started writing a fantasy book in, I guess, 2003 after reading Aragon and realizing that he was 15 years old. I thought, hey, if this kid can do it, I can give it a shot. My son was about 9 years old at that time, and my daughter was 6, so I thought it'd be cool to just write a cool fantasy story for them as something like that they could hand off to their kids or something. I never had any intentions on publishing at all. That was like 2004, I guess. And I took 8 years writing the first one because I had a full-time job and I just kind of did it for fun. And I self-published it in 2011 after I heard about KDP and all that other stuff. And I don't even want to know what it looked like at the time because I had no idea about formatting or anything like that. It was probably a wreck. But I got like 5 sales, I think, from people at work for the whole year. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then my buddy, who had convinced me to finish the book because I had the last chapter to do for like a year. He read up to that point and then convinced me to finish it. So that friend ended up winning like $1 million in the lottery. So I kind of patiently waited for everybody to get done bugging him about stuff and waited for him to mention getting the book redone and re-edited and trying to republish it. Kind of a re-release. So we worked out a deal and put a bunch of money into it and got a new cover, professional editing. I think CreateSpace did the formatting. I don't remember, but we re-released it in 2012 in June, I believe, and it just started doing really well to the point where I realized I had to hurry up and write a second one.
Nice. So you have an angel investor.
Yeah, that was nice. I would have maybe eventually done it myself, but didn't have the money at the time.
Did you actually take it down to do everything, or did you just put up a new file and a new cover?
No, when he agreed to do it, I took it down for a couple months before we republished it.
And did you guys get any ads or anything, or do you think just changing the cover was what really helped?
I don't know. We got like the CreateSpace full package. It was like $7,000. Well, not just for that, but I got a Trevor Smith out of Arizona to do the brand new covers, and the only other thing I did was buy the press release, which I really don't know if it did anything or not.
All right, and it sounds like I didn't actually know until I talked to you about coming on the show that you also have a pen name you're playing with. What made you decide to try that out?
Well, I did the pen name because my audience is geared for young adult, and this other book I wrote is kind of a semi-raunchy urban fantasy romance. So I didn't want angry parents, emailing me every day. So I know I lost a lot of momentum or help from my fans using a pen name and kind of keeping them away from it, but it had worked out. The book itself was just something I was doing on the side that was just a fun project to do, that I didn't have anything riding on it. So I did that in between the Wheel of Agora books.
Were you thinking of like trying to tap into a more popular market with doing that, or just you just wanted a fun project?
Yeah, well, I was trolling the Amazon Top 100 like usual, and I started counting all the covers I found with man boobs on them, and it was like 12 or 13 of the top 100 were, paranormal fantasy romance or whatever, or just romance. And I knew it was a really huge market, something like 60% or something like that. So I thought it'd be cool to try to tap into that. But I definitely geared the story. I wrote the story because I wanted to write that kind of specific story and try to hit that market.
All right, and you didn't actually put man chest on yours, did you? I had a look. I thought it was a woman
No.
on there.
Yeah. I've got the woman. I didn't go that far. I didn't know if I could, I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
All right, and
add to the man chests. There's enough of them out there.
there are a lot of them out there right now. And you mentioned that you did Kindle Scout with it and ended up getting selected?
Yeah, I had intended on doing Kindle Scout with that book from the beginning. So I knew that they wanted the first 5,000 words for the sample that you put on the Kindle Scout website. That's what the readers get to check before they nominate you. So I kept that in mind when I wrote the first 5,000 words for sure, so that it would end in a perfect spot to keep people interested and get them motivated to nominate it.
All right, cool. I think Joe's going to ask you a couple more questions about that, and then I will ask you more about your USA Today Bestseller run later on.
Great.
Yep. All right, so Kindle Scout, that requires Amazon exclusivity, right?
Yes.
It looks like most of your books aren't exclusive. Did you intend? Well, you said you were aiming this for Scout. Were you interested in the exclusivity as well, like experimenting with that?
Well, I've been exclusive before with the Will books, and then I went wide so that I could hit the USA Today list, and then I kind of stayed wide because I don't want to anger the people that bought them on other devices. And I don't know if the borrows will outdo what I do with Drafted Digital and all that. What was the other part of the question?
How's your experience been with it so far?
It's been really good. They give you special marketing, obviously, because Kindle Scout really is Amazon, our sister company.
Yep.
And so far, it's been doing really good. It's ranking around the mid 3,000s. It's probably averaged 3,500 for a month for the ranking, not the sales.
Oh, yeah.
I won't know what the sales are till the end of May, but
Okay.
that's really good in my opinion for the pen name's not known at all.
Yeah.
I haven't really been
Just the
doing
one book,
that
right?
much. Yeah, just the one book. It's first in the series. And aside from Facebook, I haven't done a lot of marketing for it. So I know they haven't done anything major with it. So that'll be cool to see when they actually do a special promotion for it.
Do you know any of the things that they've done, or you just think it's been sort of, I want to say, like ranking benefits right now?
Yeah, I'm not sure. They haven't told me that they've done any promotions. I haven't found it in any of the lists I've looked at on Amazon. I don't know if they've put it on emails or anything to their people, their fans, but I haven't had any spikes that would indicate any kind of promotions. It's been pretty steady at around 3,000 or 4,000.
That's the way you want it to be.
Yeah, it's enough to where I'm frantically working on book 2.
Yeah. It's funny. First off, it's funny that like you come from self-publishing and then you get to see this, and then you don't get to see your sales numbers for a while, and you don't really
Yeah,
get to see exactly what's going on with the book. It's got to feel a little bit weird to suddenly lose that level of control and insight.
it is. It's good and bad at the same time. I don't have to worry about it at all. And but at the same time, I have to guess from what the ranking is how many I'm doing a day. So
Yeah. Well, I guess it'll be a nice surprise when it comes along.
yeah, yeah. As long as I make back the advance, if I can make it back in a month, that'd be cool.
That would be excellent.
Yeah.
All right, those are really the questions I have for this section. So I think Jeff's got some more for you.
Okay, when you were talking about exclusivity, in your own determination, when would be the ideal time to give specific retailers exclusivity, do you think? Like when you're
When would
releasing
be
like a brand new title? Yeah, like the ideal time that like, okay, you know what, I don't want to go wide, I just want to focus, in this case, on our friend Amazon. I'm just wondering what your determination, what would be the motivating factors?
Well, I don't know if I guess if it wasn't selling good on the other retailers, it's always going to sell the best on Amazon, in my opinion. I've never had anyone else outperform Amazon. I liked it a lot before when there wasn't borrows, or there wasn't. Now it's the page count thing, right? So when there was
Right.
borrows, I thought it was a little better. The page count thing, I haven't done much, but I don't know.
Would your recommendation be, like, say, for instance, if you have some titles that are, say, no longer selling too well, whether it's wide, whether or not, and then try and get it to join, the KUs, Amazon KU, or like, would you focus on like a brand new title?
Well, I have one. Orion Resner, unfortunately, isn't doing as well as I'd like, so I did come off wide and go exclusive with them. And I mean, I haven't seen any big change.
So thus far, no change for that one that you moved to exclusivity. Okay. With regards to your pen name, since we know that you actually been using a pen name, would you do it over if given the chance? Let's say if you start up a new project, would you create a brand new pen name for it, or just stick with one you already have?
Well, I did that pen name because it was so different from my usual thing. I guess if I did any fantasy books aside from romance, I guess I would continue to do under my name, Michael Ploof. I did the Orion Resner books under my own name, and I don't know if I got a lot of crossover from my Will of Agora fans, but it would depend. If I did sci-fi or something, I might do a whole new pen name.
I mean, do you have like for instance, do you have like a mailing list for each one that you have to keep separate, or is it just like one main one that handles everybody?
That's the hard part, and that was one of the things that sucked, not using my own name. I had to create a whole new mailing list, which I have to start growing again, so, that's fun.
Yeah, it's hard to get people, entice people to sign up. I mean, do you offer any incentives for saying, hey, if you sign up for my newsletter, I'll give you a free story, short story, anything?
I do that with Legends of Agora. Will of Agora is free right now, and it's been free for a few months. And I also let people pick from any of my books to get their free book for signing up. Unfortunately, I can't do that with the pen name books because Kindle Scout, controls the pricing on book 1, so I can't give that away free right now. So I might do some short stories or something for the future.
Well, that's not a bad idea. Alrighty, let me hand you back over to Lindsay. She's got some questions for you regarding your stint on the USA Today best-selling thing, so I can't wait to hear about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember being on K-Boards last year, seeing when you kind of did your first post that said, hey, I'm going to take a run at the USA Today bestseller list, and you had a bunch of ads lined up. Could you tell us about how it went and kind of what your plan was and whether everything's worked out?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I had hit the USA Today with, the Fierce, it was the Fierce bundle, right? Last year. And but I kind of wanted to do it on my own also, since I was using the letters all the time, and I don't know, I thought it'd be more legit if I hit it by my lonesome. So I set up a BookBub deal. I contacted them specifically and said that if they ran the bundle, I was going to go for USA Today run, and I told them all the sites I was going to contact. And fortunately, they agreed, and they agreed to do it on a Monday because I wanted to start the whole thing out with BookBub right on Monday, and then let it trickle down to the other less awesome sites. And that worked out pretty good. I don't know what the number was at the time that you had to hit like 6,000 in a week or something, and you had to be wide. That's another reason I set all that up months in advance to put everything wide. And that worked out really well. I tried it again 6 months later with BookBub at the end of the run, and that didn't work out quite as well.
Yeah, and this was for a box set, wasn't it, that you dropped down to 99 cents?
Yeah, the whole box set of book 1 through 4, from $9.99 to 99 cents
Yeah,
for the week.
I've hit the list too on the back of a BookBub, but it was only with a box set that I've managed to do it. In fantasy, I think in romance it's probably easier because the BookBub list is so huge. But I feel like in epic fantasy, if you have that great deal, like $9.99 down to 99 cents, and it has
that's
to be,
what they're looking for.
Yeah, it has to be a wide appeal too. I've had several BookBub ads that haven't come anywhere close to selling that many books.
Right. I've had single books that were 99 cents and they didn't come anywhere close. Probably maybe half the sales for the day. But it had a nice tail on it too. After the week was up, I put it at $4.99 and it was really steady for months, and then moved it back up to $9.99 after a few months.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the time with BookBub, if maybe you sell 1,000 or 2,000 at once, and Amazon pushes it right back down within a few days. But I actually had the same experience when I did that one box set. I guess it was just a good enough deal and popular enough concept that people saw it like at the top of the list and actually kept buying it, and it stuck, and it was great. I was like, oh, I've heard about this happening to people before. Doesn't usually happen to me. So
yeah, it stuck pretty good for a little while. Usually it seems like the longer you're doing well, the heavier your anchor gets, pulling you back down. But it's always nice to glide for a while.
Yeah, and I think that it's probably about the same. I mean, it varies each week how many you need to get these on these lists, but I had the same experience where it was about 6,000 sales, and then I think I had 500 or something at Barnes & Noble. I've heard that's kind of the cutoff. You have to have at least 500 like at iTunes or Barnes & Noble for them to report and for you to make the list.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was watching really closely to see if they would even, get me there.
All right. I know BookBub was a big part of your strategy, but not everyone who gets a BookBub ad makes a list. Do you have any advice for other people that want to make the run?
Well, I've got a list of, 40 or 50 sites that I use. So, I think the advice to anybody trying to hit the list would be plan on spending about $1,000 and really pushing it on Facebook. I've noticed that those Facebook marketing has gotten a lot better over the last 6 months, and you need to get used to using that, making good ads that people want to click on. You got to give them something, some kind of incentive. But yeah, I would say plan on spending a lot of time submitting to 40 or 50 sites besides BookBub and spread them out. I did like 5 or 6 a day for each day of the week after BookBub.
And do you remember which days, like you said you got it on a Monday. Do you remember if it's like Monday through Sunday that they count the books or what the deal is for USA Today?
I believe so.
All right. Yeah, I think for New York Times bestseller list, it's different. We'll have to get somebody else on to talk about that.
Yeah, and that's a lot more books sold.
Yeah, I've heard from people that do that. It's more like 12,000 in the week.
Yeah. Someday.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get a book, or not a BookBub, a USA Today bestseller just on a new release by doing pre-orders, but fortunately, my audience is all over the world. So like I've had enough sales, but they're in Australia and the UK and stuff. So USA Today does not care about those.
No. It'd be nice if they did, but
then you'd be something else. World bestseller. I don't know. Let me pass you to Joe to ask a few more questions about this.
All right, so we'll call you multiple USA Today bestseller, I suppose.
yes.
But
Two-time.
yeah, right. Do you feel like it's worth the effort? Just like this was a concerted effort for you. Do you think that it's worth trying to go USA Today?
I think it is if you haven't done it before. I mean, just for the giant pat on your own back, but also when you tell people, hey, I'm a self-published author, it seems like nobody really knows what I'm talking about. I've even if I tell relatives or something, yeah, I hit the USA Today list, it's like kind of glaze over, don't really know what I mean. Some people know what it means, but I think it looks good. The letters look good on anybody's book cover. It's it's at least makes people know you're legit. If you've already hit it, I don't know if it's worth trying to do it again. Maybe just for your own resume, I guess.
Yeah, it's because it's self-published. Authors don't have any gatekeepers, right? So it seems like having that on your cover and having that on your resume is at least sort of evidence of achievement,
Yeah.
Now, when you have a successful bid, now you've got these letters to your name. Do you think it's really all about the gravitas? Do you think that putting that on your cover will lead to more sales?
I'm not sure if it did or not. I put it on last year about this time, I guess. And I couldn't really say. It's not like there was a big spike, I think over time, possibly. It might sway some people's moods, maybe, that have been scoping me out for a while, too. I kind of haven't decided whether or not to pick up the book, and then they might say that and say, okay, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. I don't know that anyone's going to pick up a book specifically because it's a USA Today bestseller, but if they're on the fence about it, I'm sure it's the sort of thing that can tip them over the edge.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how you talk about how you say that you're a self-published author and not anyone. People don't always know what that is or what you're talking about. And people at least understand the words bestseller. Unfortunately, they usually think, "Oh, New York Times bestseller," but it's still something. USA Today is a thing that people know about, and bestseller is a thing that people know about. So it's an entry into a conversation with somebody.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, that's really all I have for this section too. So on to Jeff for just a few more.
Alrighty. So yeah, you touched on this a little bit briefly here, but now that you've gone through all this to try and get your box set on there and get the USA Today best-selling list, and you said you've done it before, you did it again just to see if you could do it, and you couldn't do it. Do you plan on trying it again for anything in the future?
Yeah, I had planned on trying it in a month, but I just got my BookBub rejection this morning, so that's not going to work.
Nice cheering emails, aren't they? It's like, I'm sorry, we just don't have room for you, and this bite me or something.
Yeah, well, and it's the bundle. I was surprised because they ran it a year ago and they ran it 6 months ago, so I kind of figured, kind of a shoo-in, but that's never the case with BookBub. Don't ever think they're your book buddy.
So obviously, based on all the time and effort, and as well as you said, you're looking to spend at least $1,000 to do it again. You're planning on doing just that. You're planning on doing it again.
Yeah, this they didn't take the will bundle this time, but in a month when it's when it can be run, I'm going to attempt to do it with the Talon trilogy that I just finally finished the third one and put it out 3 weeks ago, I guess. So I'm going to give it a shot with that one.
Oh, very nice. You have to let us know how it works. So again, I started thinking about this, and with the USA Best-Selling Today author accolade, you can now add to your name there. have you noticed any perks? I mean, have anybody, like, any other authors that congratulate you? It's like, man, you did a great job. I saw your name on there. I'm going to check your books out. I mean, has anyone been talking about it? I'm just wondering what all it's done for you.
Well, not a lot of people going out of their way to say, hey, way to go. I guess when you say you did on Facebook or on your fan page, people are really excited. A lot of the authors I ended up hanging out with on Facebook or whatever, we all hit it together with Fierce. So, KJ Cole, who I talk to a lot, and other authors. But I don't really, not a lot of perks specifically because you hit it,
So you get the perks when you look at your number of sales. Then is that it?
Yeah. That's what helps me get to sleep.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the rest of us aspire to. So, okay, that's that's what I was curious about. All right, let me hand you over to Lindsay. She's got some Amazon advertising questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I did want to ask before we let you go on this topic. You mentioned Facebook ads. Were you using those at the same time you were trying to make the list?
Yeah, I believe so. They probably weren't as advanced as the ones I do now, and I don't think they worked as well a year ago. The click-through percentage or whatever wasn't that good, but I use them now to the tune of 200 to 500 books a month, I guess. I mean, I promote every post I put on my author page just because if you don't, nobody will see it. So I throw $5 on it, and that way I can't post every day either. Keeps them short and sweet, and not that often.
Right. It seems like were you just sending them directly to, was there a promoted post when you were trying to do the USA Today run, or did you send them directly to your book on Amazon or the different sites?
Yeah, I would put stuff on my author page, boost that, but I'd also make ads specifically for the whole week for that run. Maybe a few $100s when I went for that one last year.
Nice. And what are you doing these days? It sounds like you're doing them ongoing just to keep things selling.
Yeah, I haven't run any ads much because I kind of end up forgetting about it after a while. When I'm working on a book, I don't do much else. In between books, I do more promotion, get all my promotions ready, and then run those. But I'm not often between books. So I just kind of do it when I'm stuck or want to do something else. Right now I have the Will book free, and I'm about to set up another promotion for that since BookBub face-palmed me this morning. But other than that, I just kind of keep them going all the time and promote each book through the other books, of course, and slowly growing the mailing list, which has done a lot better since I got started getting to I can't even remember his name now, the big Facebook marketing guy.
Mark Dawson?
Yes, there he is. Yeah.
He gets mentioned every week in our show.
Yeah. He's helped a lot over the last few months, specifically with ads and stuff, using lead pages and trying to automate some of the system. I still don't really trust it, so I actually send all my books myself, but I've automated a few other things just to test it out.
All right, cool. And have you been able to tell, I assume you're getting people onto your list by giving them the free books.
Yeah.
Have you been able to tell if those people who come in for the free books actually go out and buy the other books in the series?
It'd be hard to know. I still haven't figured out that other thing where you can actually track it all. But most of the people that want sign up for the mailing list are looking for book 2 of Will of Agora, so I know they're coming from the free first book. And whether they go to the third, I'm assuming so. That's all pretty steady, trickling down from the first.
Nice. All right. And one of the things I was curious about, you mentioned you were kind of playing around with the Amazon advertising too, and I don't think we've had anybody on yet who's, if they've done it, they haven't done it successfully. What have you found so far with that?
Well, the Amazon advertising, I actually haven't really delved into that much. I just started doing I finally switched all my website stuff over to the Amazon Associates thing, where you get another 7 or 8% or whatever if people go directly through your associates link. But that's made me a grand total of about $4, I think. So it's not great.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, I think most of our readers do, but if you sign up for the Amazon affiliate program, you can make like 5% or something on any links that people click and then buy something in the Amazon store. But it's also a way to track, if you're like if you're doing the Facebook ads and sending them directly to a page on Amazon, you can make a special tracking ID, like a channel just for that, and you can see exactly which sales resulted from those clicks. So
right.
Cool.
This is the stuff I'd really like to hire somebody to do. Because you learn so many different things doing this that you might not come back to some specific part for 3 weeks later and then have to figure out how to do it all again. That always drives me crazy.
All
Maybe
right.
I just have reoccurring learning curves. I don't know.
Are you finding that with the Facebook ads that you're able to, because it's kind of hard because you're paying per click, and sometimes you're paying like 30 or 40 cents because it's sort of bidding it up so you get clicks. Are you finding that it's worthwhile, that you're actually making more than you spend there?
Well, I don't advertise books being sold as much as free books, or just, hey, you can get a free book by signing up. I use Facebook marketing mostly to get people to my mailing list, because I think that's one of the most important things for longevity, is to get a really good group of readers who will help launch you into the best-selling charts on release day or release week, and get reviews through them.
Right, and are you doing with your mailing list, do you have more than one, or are you segmenting it at all so you know which people signed up just because, like from your books versus from Facebook?
Yeah, if I do a Facebook advertisement and then run it through lead pages, I create a separate mailing list that says it's from this campaign or that campaign. And then I might just record it all and throw them into the main list.
Okay, and for those who haven't heard of lead pages, is that like a WordPress plugin, or what is that exactly?
It's got basically every landing page on it that you find online. You can build landing pages, all kinds of stuff on there. Google, they got the digits thing where you can text, free book to 2233, stuff like that. I think it's called Lead Digits. It's pretty cool. There's a learning curve with that too, but after a few days of pulling your hair out and wanting to hire a computer geek, figure it out.
Jeff, he's calling your name. Have you found that are you doing the texting one? That I only ran into one other person who was trying that, so I'm curious if it works.
I have. Me and my wife have been considering buying a camper and cruising around the world on like a tour, and I was going to try it when I did that, put it right on the side of the thing and cruising down the freeway all the time. Might get bored kids in the back of the car and say, yeah, I want a free book. We'll see what happens.
All right, nice. I have noticed I've started playing with Facebook ads just again this last month that the ones that are actually converting best for me are the mobile ones. So I don't know, maybe people are seeing them on their phone and just like, I'm going to buy this book. Yeah,
that's really interesting. I think you get more people on Facebook now on mobile devices too.
Probably so, yeah. All right, let me hand you to Joe for a few more questions.
All right, so one of the key marketing tips that we give on this show is not only to have good covers, but to try to have a strong brand and series recognition to those covers. You mentioned earlier Trevor Smith. You had do covers. Did you stick with Trevor for the other covers in the series?
Trevor's done most of my covers on all my books, except for recently Will of Agora 5 and 6, where I went with Durian. I don't know if you're familiar with him from DeviantArt. He's got some wicked stuff.
Cool.
I was pretty excited to work with him.
How did you find your artists?
Trevor was in 2012. I forget what it was. Freelanced.com. I think I found him on there. And Durian, I found on Amazon. He actually did a really awesome cover for someone. I noticed this fantasy book come out, and I said, well, I got to find out who did that. And I ended up, luckily it was in the book. The author put the link to him, so that worked out. Sometimes you see a great cover and the author doesn't say who did it, so then you're like,
Yeah, it's definitely helpful. I mean, just out of respect for the artist, I always make sure that I have my artist link in there. But it's definitely helpful because some people, I mean, heck, you're pulling people in because of your impressive cover. Some people are really more interested in the cover than the book.
Yeah, for sure. I was lucky enough. He did a really great job on book one. I think that had a lot to do with its success after its re-release.
How much input did you have into the cover? How much did you leave in the hands of the artist?
I always have a really good idea what I want. I sketch it out really horribly and on paint usually. Just say somebody goes here, this is here, that's there, and then just let them start building it from that.
Cool. Yeah, it seems like the more control you let an artist have on your cover, the better the result is. The person we talked to last week, I had mentioned his cover and how much input he had, and he was like, I just said to put a spaceship on it, and he drew that awesome spaceship. So it seems like the less. So I guess that's some good advice for anyone who's looking to get new covers: is let the artist have as much latitude as possible.
Yeah, but I think it depends on the artist too. If
they're cover artists in particular.
Yeah. Durian was really, I mean, they're both great artists, but Durian, I literally said, I want Will on a cool looking throne with this elf chick looking over his shoulder deviously, and he had it back to me in like 10 days. I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Excellent. Now, tying this into advertising, it's almost more important, I think, to have a good cover when you're advertising, because you have, the people looking at your ads aren't necessarily even shopping for books. They're just going about their day. So, I guess I would say, do you think it's a better idea to focus on getting a good, let's say you're going to do a relaunch like you did. Do you think it's important to have your new cover and new blurbs and stuff in place before you try advertising, or is it, what do you think?
Well, I think you should have a good book cover. But as far as Facebook marketing, I try to target, if I'm targeting women, I'm going to try to find a really good picture of a cozy looking picture of a woman reading, and then put the book over here, because you want them to be able to relate to the person in the picture as opposed to just the book cover. A book cover, they might say, wow, that looks really cool, but if they see somebody like them or doing something they wish they could do, like chilling and reading somewhere quiet, they might be drawn into the ad a little more.
It's interesting. I don't do a tremendous amount of advertising, but I have never really thought about having anything but my book cover as the image for the ad. So that's more good advice. I want to say, I don't know what to call that, but that's knowing your audience, I suppose. That's a reason for targeted advertising.
Yeah, I used to always just have the covers, or a bunch of books together, all together. But I started messing around with, finding stock photos that I could use for my advertising. And I usually target women, because even when I was targeting everybody, I noticed that women, surprisingly, responded way more to ads in general.
Yeah, something I've found, Facebook gives you good insights into who's fans on your page and whatnot, and you definitely, I've found that literature in general, on both sides of the coin, people making and people reading literature, it's largely female dominated.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I'm not sure how many people are really aware of that.
I don't know. You'd think it was maybe 50-50 at least, but I don't know if it's just. I think women are better readers too, because they talk more and they tell their friends things, and I think they're more likely to recommend you.
That's probably accurate. I think it became most clear to me that that was the case. I thought perhaps, I mean, I knew, you become aware of your own readership, so I knew that, and just from letters and whatnot, that I had a lot of strong female readership. But when I went to my first actual book convention, like trade show, and saw how much of it was dedicated specifically and targeted specifically toward women, I became aware, like, what a potent force they are in the industry.
Yeah. And that too, and I'm assuming, being that I do young adult, I might be getting the younger kids' mothers kind of monitoring or buying the books. So that's always something I keep in mind.
That would be a really interesting, like, slice of the pie to know, is how many of your recurring readers started as just people seeing it was okay for their kids.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people say, that either they were reading it and now their kids are, or their kids were and now they are. It's always fun.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for me again. So now back to Jeff.
Okay, so every single time you release a brand new title, would you recommend creating an ad, like Facebook ad, or trying to incorporate it in some fashion, or would you say, like, you know what, I'm planning on I'm releasing a novel every other month. I don't really need to. I just had one. I just had a book club ad. I can wait. I can wait a release and then go on to the next one. But I'm just curious, like, when you release your titles, do you have an ad, or you create ads for every single title?
Definitely, yeah.
Who do you predominantly go through? Like Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook. I don't really use anyone else. I mean, it's hard. There's not a lot of sites promoting new releases right now. I'm trying to compile a list, but that's on my back burner. It would be nice if there was more sites that did new releases.
Do you create the ad for, like, the day it's released, or you start, like, maybe like a week or two prior to get people pumped up on it, or how do you typically do it?
Well, I used to wait about 9 or 10 days, because that's usually about how long it seems to take for the Amazon spike, which to take effect, and the also bots and all that stuff. But I've been doing it on release day and then for the whole week, and hitting my mailing list. So the first few days I have my own spike, and then it kind of comes down a bit, and then the Amazon spike kicks in, and it usually puts it in a pretty good spot.
Alrighty. You mentioned before, when you're talking about man chests on covers, that when you're looking through the covers of your yeah, when you're looking through the covers in other book covers in your same genre, what would you say would be some common mistakes other authors are making when it comes to releasing their titles?
See, I don't really know. It's always a mystery. I've seen books selling really good, and the cover looks like a snapshot of an old video game scene, and I can't even believe that people are buying them. I've seen books selling. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so just like an incorrectly themed cover, like for like a video game theme on a fantasy novel or whatnot.
Yeah, well, it's just really super low quality covers. I've seen people with mistakes in their blurbs, but they're still selling well. It's like, I really don't know.
I can tell you, if I have a typo in my blurb, yeah, that's definitely going to affect sales, because that is something, just me personally, when I'm looking through like a new potential book, when the cover looks great, and I'm okay, let's look over at the blurb. If there's grammatical errors, if there's a typo, it is an instant disqualification, and it's on to the next one.
Yeah.
If there's a typo in the blurb, you better believe there's going to be a typo in the rest of the book.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, good deal. Alrighty, well, those are my particular questions there. Let me pass you back over to Lindsay, and we'll see if we can wrap this up for you.
All right.
Yeah, one last question I meant to ask earlier and didn't. What are you doing for pricing? It looks like you've got like a perma-free $2.99, and you're kind of stair-stepping it up to $3.99 or $4.99. Have you played around a lot?
I have. They started out all $2.99 when I had book 2, 3. I think then book 4 I went to $4.99, and then at some point I had all of them at $4.99. But when I put out the bundle, I didn't want it to make it $9.99, but have all my books be $4.99, where it's like $20 and you're saving 10. So I wanted to make that a little more like you're saving $1 or $2, because I didn't want the bundle to kill the individual sales, because they seem to be coexisting pretty well right now. But I don't plan on putting anything over $4.99. I've thought about it before, but I don't want to anger readers that have been buying them for $4.99. And I think for the length of the Will books, 100 to 120,000 words, $4.99 is good enough. Shorter books like the Talon books, I sell for less because they're shorter. 70 to 80,000. I put them at $2 or $3.
Have you, when you went from $2.99 to $4.99, did you see a drop off at all, or did it pretty much stay the same?
Maybe slight, but I was surprised that it was still pretty steady. It's tempting, but when you get to where I'm on book 6 now, I'm be releasing book 7 later this year. If your books are, $6.99 and there's 7 of them out there, you're asking people to pay a lot. And I know they're probably used to it, buying all the big names, but I don't know. I don't even buy Kindle books for $9.99. I don't care if it's my favorite author. It's like, come on, there's no paper. It's a digital download, man. You guys are being pigs.
Yeah, it seems like you can get away with like higher prices too if you're in Kindle Unlimited and you've got borrows also kind of propping up your ranking. But yeah, I'm always, especially with the newer releases that are still in a top 100 category somewhere, I'm pretty conscious of not trying to scare people off with higher prices.
Yeah.
All right, well that's about all I've got here on my list. So why don't you tell us, I think you already mentioned it, but tell us where people can find you and which of your books they should check out.
Well, they can check out Will of Agora, the first one, the one I wrote for my kids over the course of 8 years. They can get that one free right now. They can check out all my books at willofagora.com or look up author Michael James Ploof on Facebook. I answer all my messages and all my posts on there, and it's always a lot of fun to talk to people. And the Will book's the only free one. If you're more into urban fantasy, the Orion Resner Chronicles are one of my favorite books that I've done. It's a lot of fun. Post-apocalyptic wizard. Who knew? All
right, I know you're going to share the name of your smutty pen name book with no man chest, but
yeah, I can. I don't like to go, I don't like to tell my Legends of Agora fans so much what it is, but I don't mind the paranormal romance fans going over to Legends of Agora. So, but it's MJ Lovestone.
All
but
right, cool.
Keep in mind, it's for adults.
All right, I'll put a link to both in the show notes and to your website so people can check you out if they want some more information.
And that book is Across to Bear.
Okay, cool. Thank you for joining us tonight and answering our questions.
Thanks for
having me. It was a lot of fun.
Hey, thanks for listening, everyone.
Hey, take it easy.